Okay, guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I have an announcement. We have a new book. Yay! All right. So her aura is showing. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. We need to add some stickers or something to give her some hayat. But this is a book for ages 8 to 12. I am in fact not 8 to 12 years old. However, um what was I saying? Oh yeah, my sister gave me this book. She bought it for me. It's such a sweet gift because it's her favorite book. And because I'm getting into fiction now, she thought it'd be a nice book to give me. And also because my audience is kind of on the younger side, so it'd be nice to read this kind of book to them, which is so wholesome, so sweet. I love this gift. And yo, Ariel, welcome back to the stream. How's it going? It's midnight for you, right? It's midnight for me too. Um, yeah. So if you go to sleep, there's no problem with that because I'm gonna read a new storybook called Each Little Bird That Sings. It's my sister's favorite book. That's why she bought it for me, so I could read it. I haven't read The Hobbit in so long though. Like it felt like forever since the last time I read it. And I don't want to stop reading that, you know? Like it was an actually good book. So I don't know whether to start this or to start it after I finish The Hobbit. So what do you say? Should I put up like a poll or something? Let me know, let me know. This is a National Book Award finalist. So it's really good. We'll have to see why. It's my sister's favorite. But I have to see. I have to bring The Hobbit here. Which one? Which one? I'm good after leaving the last stream. I made musubi with my siblings for dinner. You, I'm okay with anything. Oh, thank you. And musubi is so good. It's like that spam thing, right? Like spam rice and then wrapped in seaweed. That's nice. That's very wholesome that you did that with your siblings. Um, or it could be eggs too, right? Yes, nice. I think I made that before, but like obviously with halal luncheon. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited for this one, but I want to finish this one first. So we'll have to save this for later. I don't know though. Kind of indecisive about everything. Okay, let's flip a coin then, shall we? I don't have a coin though, so let's flip something. Let me think. Let me think. What do we have? What do we have in our um? So I have this pin here. If it goes any degree upward, it's the Hobbit. If it goes downward, it's the Each Little Bird That Sings. Bruh. Okay, let me do another one. Oh my god. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Huh? Ah! Is it up or down? It's literally I think it's down. Okay. Flipping a coin works, you know what you want when it's mid-flight. I guess I know what I want then. Even and welcome back to the stream. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Even though there's no like coin, I think when I flipped it, I was hoping for the Hobbit. So let's start with the Hobbit, inshallah. And welcome back, tweet, tweet, tweet. How's it going? Hello, I'm Freddy Guy, by the way. Yo, Freddy, Rockstar Freddy, welcome back. It's been so long. How are you guys doing? Let me know. So yeah. We're going to continue with The Hobbit. I feel like I stopped somewhere around here. I'm not so sure. This is crazy. I'm never first to the stream. Never? I thought you were first today. A long time no see. Yeah. It's been a really long time. So let me know how you've been. What has been going on with you guys? And I'll start in the meantime. Okay. So I don't know where I stopped. Okay, so mm, alright, I think I stopped here. Are we all here? Said he, handing his sword back to Thorin with a bow. Let me see. One, two. Oh, I read that. Mm, on and on they went. On they went. Gandalf was quite right. They began to hear goblin noises and horrible cries far behind in the passages they had come through. That sent them on faster than ever. As poor Bilbo could not possibly go half as fast. Oh no, I read that as well. Maybe I finished the chapter. I don't know. Oh yeah, he did talk to Gollum. So we read a lot. Yeah, that's where the bookmark was. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Yo, and unconfident. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi aesthetic, huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not me, of course. Like, bro, that thumbnail was like with white hands. What hands? Does that look like mine? Nah, it's not me. So, yeah. If that made you uncomfortable, I won't use any similar thumbnails. Okay. Um. By the way, I got glasses and I got a new laptop, and also I'm on a diet. Awesome! Those are really good updates, Rockstar Freddy. Except for the glasses part. I'm sorry I had to get that. I have glasses too, though, so understand. All right, so well, hurry up, said Bilbo, relieved to think Gollum going away. He thought he was just making an excuse and did not mean to come back. What was Gollum talking about? What useful thing could he keep out on the dark lake? But he was wrong. Gollum did mean to come back. He was angry now and hungry, and he was a miserable, wicked creature, and already he had a plan. Not far away was his island, of which Bilbo knew nothing, and there in his place he kept a few wretched oddments and one very beautiful thing. Very beautiful, very wonderful. He had a ring, a golden ring, a precious ring. My birthday present, he whispered to himself, and as he had often done in the as he had often done in the endless dark days. That's what we want now. Yes, we want it. It feels different. Didn't match me uncomfortable, but when you see that thumbnail in the night, it feels different. Oh, I see. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's literally like what I made the title of the last stream about. It's like that's what it feels like to, connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not like you're hugging him, right? It just feels comforting. That's just what a hug is supposed um uh, that's what a hug is made for, basically. All right, so he wanted it because it was a ring of power, and if you slipped that ring on your finger, you were invisible. Only in the full sunlight could you be seen, and then only by your shadow, and that would be shaky and faint. My birthday present! It came to me on my birthday, my precious. So he had always said to himself, but who knows how Gollum came by that present? Ages ago, in the old days, when such rings were still at large in the world. Perhaps even the master who ruled them could not have said. Gollum used to wear it at first, till it tired him, and then he kept it in a pouch next his skin, till it galled him, and now, usually, he hid it in a hole in the rock on his island, and was always going back to look at it. And still, sometimes he put it on when he could not bear to be parted from it any longer, or when he was very, very hungry and tired of fish. Then he would creep along dark passages looking for stray goblins. He might even venture into places where the torches were lit and made his eyes blink and smart, for he would be safe. Oh, yes, quite safe. No one would see him, no one would notice him, till he had his finger on their throat. Only a few hours ago he had worn it and caught a small goblin imp. How it squeaked! He still had a bone or two left to gnaw, but he wanted something softer. Quite safe, yes, he whispered to himself. It won't see us with it, my precious. No, we won't see us. And his nasty little sword will be useless. Yes, quite. That is what was in his wicked little mind, and he slipped suddenly from Bilbo's side and flapped back to his boat, and went off into the dark. Bilbo thought he had heard the last of him. Still, he waited a while, for he had no idea how to find his way out alone. Suddenly, he heard a screech. It sent a shiver down his back. Gollum was cursing and wailing away in the gloom, not very far off by the sound of it. He was on his island, scrabbling here and there, searching and seeking in vain. Where is it? Where is it? Bilbo heard him crying. Lost it is, my precious, lost, lost. Curse us, crush us, my precious is lost. What's the matter? Bilbo called. What have you lost? You mustn't ask us, shrieked Gollum. Mm, not business, no, Gollum. It's lost, Gollum, Gollum, Gollum. Well, so am I, cried Bilbo. And I want to get unlost. And I won the game, and you promised. So come along. Come, and let me out. And then go on with your looking. Utterly miserable as Gollum sounded, Bilbo could not find much pity in his heart, and he had a feeling that anything Gollum wanted so much could hardly be something good. Come along, he shouted. No, not yet, precious, Gollum answered. We must search for it. It's lost, Gollum. But you never guessed my last question, and you promised, said Bilbo. Never guess, said Gollum. Then suddenly out of the gloom came a sharp hiss. What has it got in its pockets? Tell us that. It must tell first. As far as Bilbo knew, there was no particular reason why he should not tell. Gollum's mind had jumped to a guess quicker than his, naturally, for Gollum had brooded for ages. Since you had glasses, what is it for? Like looking distant things or closer things? Closer things. Actually, no, distant. I could see closer and far away is more, yeah, blurry. I also have to wear glasses. Hi, Iron Kia. Welcome back to the stream. How's it going? On this one thing, and he had always afraid of it being stolen. But Bilbo was annoyed at the delay. After all, he had won the game pretty fairly at a horrible risk. Answers were to be guessed, not given, he said. But it wasn't a fair question, said Gollum. Not a riddle, precious, no. Oh well, if it's a matter of ordinary questions, Bilbo replied, then I asked one first. What have you lost? Tell me that. Has it got in his pockets? That sound came hissing louder and sharper, and as he looked towards it, to his alarm, Bilbo now saw two small points of light peering at him. As suspicion grew in Gollum's mind, the light of his eyes burned with a pale flame. What have you what have you lost? Bilbo persisted. But now the light in Gollum's eyes had become a green fire, and it was coming swiftly nearer. Gollum was in his boat again, paddling wildly back to the dark shore, and such a rage of loss and suspicion was in his heart that no sword had any more terror for him. Bilbo could not guess what had maddened the wretched creature, but he saw that all was up, and that Gollum meant to murder him at any rate. Just in time he turned and ran blindly back at the dark passage down which he had come, keeping close to the wall and feeling it with his left hand. What has it got in its pockets? He heard it hiss loud behind him, and the splash as Gollum leapt from his boat. Oh, this is so scary! What? What have I wonder? He said to himself as he panted and stumbled along. He put his left hand in his pocket. The ring felt very cold, and it quietly slipped onto his groping forefinger. The hiss was close behind him. He turned now and saw Gollum's eyes, like small green lamps coming up the slope. Oh my god. Terrified, he tried to run faster, but suddenly he struck his toes on a snag in the floor, and he fell flat with his little sword under him. In a moment Gollum was on him, but before Bilbo could do anything, recover his breath, pick himself up, or wave his sword, Gollum passed by, taking no notice of him, cursing and whispering as he ran. What could it mean? Gollum could see in the dark. Bilbo could see the light of his eyes palely shining even from behind. Painfully he got up and sheathed his sword, which was now glowing faintly again. Then, very cautiously, he followed. There seemed nothing else to do. It was no good crawling back down to Gollum's water. Perhaps if he followed him, Gollum might lead him to some way of escaping without meaning to. Some way of escape without meaning to. Curse it, said hissed Gollum. Curse the Baggins! It's gone! What has it got in its pockets? Oh, we guess, my precious. He's found it, yes, he must have. My birthday present. Bilbo pricked up in his ears. He was at last beginning to guess himself. He hurried a little, getting as close as he dared behind Gollum, who was still going quickly, not looking back. But, turning his head from side to side as Bilbo could see from the faint glimmer on the walls. My birthday present, curse it! How did we lose it, my precious? Yes, that's it. When we came this way last, when we twisted that nasty young squeaker. That's it, curse it! It slipped from us. After all these ages and ages, it's gone, Gollum. Suddenly, Gollum sat down and began to weep, a whistling and gurgling sound horrible to listen to. Bilbo halted and flattened himself against the tunnel wall. After a while, Gollum stopped weeping and began to talk. He seemed to be having an argument with himself. It's no good going back there to search. No, we doesn't remember all the places we visited, and it's no use. The Baggins has got in its pocket sees the nasty noser has found it, we says. We guesses, precious, only guesses. We can't know till we find a nasty creature and squeezes it. But it doesn't know what a person can do, does it? It'll just keep in its pockets. It doesn't know. I mean, it can't go far. It's lost itself, the nasty nosy thing. It doesn't know the way out, it says so. It says so, yes, but it's tricksy. It doesn't say what it means. It won't say what it's got in its pockets. It knows. It knows a way in. It must know a way out, yes. It's off to the back door. To the back door, that's it. The goblins will catch it then. It can't get out that way, precious. Gollum, goblins. Yes, but if it got the present, our precious. Do I have to say all in his accent? Okay. But if it got the present, our precious present, then goblins will get it. Yeah, Gollum. They'll finally get it. They'll find out what it is. We shan't ever be safe again. Never, Gollum. Or the goblins will put it on, and then no one will see him. He'll be there, but not seen. Not even our clever eyes will notice him, and he'll come creepy and tricksy and catch us, Gollum. Gollum! Then let's stop talking, precious, and make haste. If the Baggins has gone that way, we must go quick and see. Go! So far now. Make haste! With a spring, Gollum got up and started shambling off at a great pace. Bilbo hurried after him, still cautiously, though his chief fear now was of tripping on another snag and falling without a noise. His head was in a whirl of hope and wonder. It seemed that the ring he had was a magic ring. It made you invisible. He had heard of such things, of course, in old tales, but it was hard to believe that he really had found one by accident. Still, there it was. Gollum, with his bright eyes, had passed him by, only a yard to one side. On they went, Gollum flip-flapping ahead, hissing and cursing. Bilbo behind, going as softly as a hobbit can. Soon they came to a place where, as Bilbo had noticed on the way down, side passages opened, this way and that. Gollum began at once to count them. One left, yes. One right, yes. Two right, yes, yes. Two left, yes, yes. And so on and so on. As the count grew, he slowed down and he began to get shaky and weepy, for he was leaving the water further and further behind, and he was getting afraid. Goblins might be about, and he had lost his ring. At last he stopped by a low opening on their left as they went up. Seven right, yes. Seven six, yes, he whispered. This is it. This is the way to the back door, yes. Here's the passage. He peered in and shrank back. But we daren't go in. Precious, we daren't. Goblinsies down there. Lots of goblinsies. We smell them. What shall we do? Curse them and crush them. We must wait here, precious. Wait a minute, see. You look browner than usual. Summer has arrived. What the heck, Craig? It's nighttime. Also, yeah, it is summer. Welcome back to the stream, Craig. Do not comment on my skin, please, and thank you. We need the Gollum voice more. I think I'm the only one here now. I think my mind's gonna explode studying this stupid stuff. I hate it. Oh, yeah, with chemistry exam, huh? Well, I'll make it easy for you and confident. Also, you should be studying right now, right? Errol chat somewhere. My bad, I'm locked into the story. Nice, nice, nice. Sorry, I'll keep going. So, where do we stop? So, they came to a dead stop. Gollum had brought Bilbo to the way out after all, but Bilbo could not get in. There was Gollum sitting humped up right in the opening, and his eyes gleamed cold in his head as he swayed it from side to side between his knees. Bilbo crept away from the wall more quietly than a mouse, but Gollum stiffed at once. He sniffed, and his eyes went green. He hissed softly but menacingly. He could not see the hobbit, but now he was on the alert, and he had other senses that the darkness had sharpened, hearing and smell. He seemed to be crouched right down with his flat hands played on the floor and his head thrust out, nose almost to the stone, though he was only a black shadow in the gleam of his stone. A gleam of his own eyes. Bilbo could see or feel that he was tense as a bowstring gathered for his spring. Bilbo almost stopped breathing, and he went stiff himself. He was desperate. He must get away out of this horrible darkness while he had any strength left. He must fight. He must stab the foul thing. But put its eyes out, kill it. It meant to kill him. No, not a fair fight. He was invisible now. Gollum had no sword. Gollum had not actually threatened to kill him, or tried to yet. And he was miserable, alone, lost. Oh, I feel bad for Gollum too. Like, he's just been by himself and he's so nice to himself eating fish, he's halal. Anyways, a sudden understanding of pity mixed with horror welled up in Bilbo's heart. Aw, he's so wholesome too. A glimpse of endless unmarked days without light or hope of betterment. Hard stone, cold fish sneaking and whispering. All these thoughts passed in a flash of a second. Aw, I'd feel bad too. So he trembled, and then quite suddenly, in another flash, as if lifted by a new strength and resolve, he leaped. No great leap for a man, but a leap in the dark. Straight over Gollum's head he jumped 7 feet forward. What? How did a hobbit jump 7 feet forward and three in the air? Indeed, he had known it. He was only just missed cracking his skull on the low arch of the passage. Gollum threw himself backwards and grabbed as the hobbit flew over him, but too late. His hand snapped on thin air, and Bilbo, falling fair on his 30 feet, sped off down the new tunnel. He did not turn to see what Gollum was doing. There was a hissing and cursing almost at his heels at first. Then it stopped. All at once there came a blood-curdling shriek filled with hatred and despair. Gollum was defeated. He dared go no further. He had lost his prey, and lost too the only thing he had ever cared for, his precious. No! Wait, I feel so bad for Gollum. Like, it was already so sad that he was alive in such a state. Like, his precious was the only thing keeping him happy. The cry brought Bilbo's heart to his mouth, but still he held on. Yeah, now faint as an echo, but menacing, the voice came behind. Thief, 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 fires, we hate it forever. Then there was a silence, but that too seemed menacing to Bilbo. If goblins are so near that he smelt them, he thought, then they'll have heard his shrieking and cursing. Careful now, or this way will lead you to worse things. The passage was low and roughly made. It was not too difficult for the hobbit, except when, in spite of all care, he stubbed his poor toes again several times on nasty, jagged stones in the floor. A bit low for goblins, at least for the big ones, thought Bilbo, not knowing that even the big ones, the orcs of the mountains, go along at a great speed, stooping low with their hands almost to the ground. Soon, the passage that had been sloping down began to go up again, and after a while it climbed steeply. That slowed Bilbo down, but at last the slope stopped. The passage turned a corner and dipped down again, and there, at the bottom of a short incline, he saw, filtering round another corner, a glimpse of light. Not red light as a fire or a lantern, but a pale out of doors sort of light. Then Bilbo began to run. Isn't this so amazing? Bro, I love this story. I can't even understand most of the part because English isn't my first language. No more study, bro. Studied all day. Let me read. Dang. I'm sorry you don't understand the story, but me being like Gala when the internet is out. Yeah, for real. He's so relatable. Anyway, let's continue. So, scuttling as fast as his legs would carry him, he turned the last corner and came suddenly right into an open space where the light, after all that time in the dark, seemed dazzlingly bright. Really, it was only a leak of sunshine in through a doorway where a great door, a stone door, was left standing open. Bilbo blinked, and then suddenly he saw the goblins, goblins in full armor and drawn swords sitting just inside the door and watching it with wide eyes and watching the passage that led to it. They were aroused, alert, ready for anything. They saw him sooner than he saw them. Yes, they saw him. Whether it was an accident or a last trick of the ring before it took a new master, it was not on his finger. With yells of delight, the goblins rushed upon him. A pang of fear and loss, like an echo of Gollum's misery, smote Bilbo, and forgetting even to draw his sword, he struck his hands into his pocket, and there was the ring still in his left pocket, and it slipped on his finger. The goblins stopped short. They could not see a sign of him. He had vanished. They yelled twice as loud as before, but not so delightfully. "Where is it?" they cried. "Go back up the passage," some shouted. "This way," some yelled. "That way," others yelled. "Look out for the door," bellowed the captain. Whistles blew, armors clashed, swords rattled, goblins cursed and swore, and ran hither and thither, falling over one another and getting very angry. There was a terrible outcry to do and disturbance. Bilbo was dreadfully frightened, but he had the sense to understand what had happened and to sneak behind a big barrel which held drink for the goblin guards, and so get out of the way and avoid being bumped into, trampled to death, or caught by field. "I must get to the door. I must get to the door," he kept on saying to himself. But it was long time before he ventured to try. Then it was like a horrible game of blind man's buff. The place was full of goblins running about, and the poor little hobbit dodged this way and that. Was knocked over by a goblin who could not make out what he had bumped into, scrambled away on all fours, slipped between the legs of the captain just in time, got up and ran for the door. It was still ajar, but a goblin had pushed it nearly to. Bilbo struggled, but he could not move. He tried to squeeze through the crack. He squeezed, and he stuck. It was awful. His buttons had got wedged on the edge of door and the doorpost. He could see outside into the open air. There was a few steps running down into a narrow valley between tall mountains. The sun came out from behind a cloud and shone bright on the outside of the door, but he could not get through. Suddenly, one of the goblins inside shouted, "There's a shadow by the door. Something is outside." Bilbo's heart jumped into his mouth. He gave a terrific squirm. Buttons burst off in all directions. He was though he was through with a torn coat and waistcoat leaping down the steps like a goat, while bewildered goblins were still picking up his nice brass buttons on the doorstep. Of course, they soon came down after him, hooting and hallooing and hunting almost among the trees. But they didn't like the sun. It made their legs wobble and their heads giddy. They could not find Bilbo with the ring on, slipping in and out of the shadow of the trees, running quick and quiet, and keeping out of the sun. So soon they went back, grumbling and cursing to guard the door. Bilbo had escaped. Wow. How was that chapter? We finished chapter 5 now. And that was like how many pages? One that was like 8 pages? But are we done? That was only 30 minutes of reading. Like I would read more, maybe like the next chapter. Let's see how big the next chapter is. Whoa, it's quite long. Yeah, I don't think I could finish this whole chapter, but that was nice. Should we read two books? Jojo finished chapter, yeah. But I don't know. Since Unconfident can't like keep up with the story. It's like maybe it's too much of a high reading level. So, um, should we read the other book or like stick to this one? But I do need to take a little break before we continue reading because my voice could get tired a little bit. You dozed off? Oh, it's okay. Isn't it like what time is it there? 2 p.m. That's okay and confident. This is the inky time. I haven't fallen asleep while Jojo reads. Wow, that's amazing that you haven't fallen asleep yet either, Arrow. Like that just goes to show how interesting the story was. But I don't know why people like read books to go to sleep. This is just this is keeping me awake as well though, because like I'm also sleepy. It's like 2 a.m. here. Oh, or 1 a.m. here. Close. 1:42 p.m. Okay. So you're from Pakistan? I thought in Bangladesh it's like 1 hour later than Pakistan. So we'll try to read half of this. So see. How's the resin tray now? Okay, so it's still in that box that I showed last time. See? I put it under that box so the cats don't get at it. But it said to let it rest for 24 hours, so yeah, we have to check back on it tomorrow. I'll show you guys after that and we'll unmold it, inshallah. But yeah. Oh, look who's here. It's Blonkery Donkery. Everyone's so tired of him, but he's not tired of anyone. All right, so shall we continue? Bismillah. So I know I said Bismillah. We're just reading fiction book. Anyway, so chapter 6, out of the frying pan into the fire. Uh-oh. He made it out, but into the fire? That's scary. Okay, so Bilbo had escaped the goblins, but he did not know where he was. He had lost hood, cloak, food, ponies, buttons, and his friends. He wandered on till the sun began to sink westwards, behind the mountains. Their shadows fell across Bilbo's path, and he looked back. Then he looked forward and could see before him only ridges and slopes falling towards lowlands and plains glimpsed occasionally between the trees. Good heavens, he exclaimed. I seem to have got right to the other side of the misty mountains, right to the edge of the land beyond. Where and oh, where can Gandalf and the dwarves have gone to? Yuki's eating the plastic wrap. Bunk is warning you about this chapter. There he goes, at the edge of the misty mountains. He's a hobbit now. Pets. He said it's a bit spooky, so he wanted to give you support. Oh my god. Pet him if things get too spooky. Oh, he got out of reach, so it's gonna get spooky. You read the book, Ankia? Oh, you remember. She didn't read this though. At least I don't think so. Alright, so good heavens. So where can Gandalf and the dogs have gone to? I only hope to goodness they are not still back there in the power of the goblins. He still wandered on out of the little high valley over its edge and down the slopes beyond. But all the while a very uncomfortable thought was growing inside him. He wondered whether he ought not. Now he had the magic ring to go back into the horrible, horrible tunnels and look for his friends. He had just made up his mind and that it was his duty and that he must turn back. And very miserable he felt about it when he heard voices. He stopped and listened. It did not sound like goblins, so he crept forward carefully. He was on a stony path winding downwards with a rocky wall on the left hand. On the other side the ground sloped away and there were dells below the level of the path overhung with bushes and low trees. In one of these dells under the bushes people were talking. So who could they be? They're not dwarves, they're not goblins, but could it be elves? Could it be? Let's see. He crept still nearer, and suddenly he saw peering between two big boulders a head with a red hood on. It was Ballin doing lookout. His friend! He could have clapped and shouted for joy, but he did not. He had still got the ring on, for fear of meeting something unexpected and unpleasant, and he saw the Ballin was looking straight at him without noticing him. I'll give them all a surprise, he thought as he crawled into the bushes at the edge of the dell. Gandalf was arguing with the dwarfs. They were discussing all that had happened to them in the tunnels, and wondering and debating what they were to do now. The dwarves were grumbling, and Gandalf was saying that they could not possibly go on with their journey leaving Mr. Baggins in the hands of the goblins, without trying to find out if he was alive or dead, and without trying to rescue him. "After all, he is my friend," said the Wizard, "and not a bad little chap. I feel responsible for him. I wish to goodness he had not lost him." The dwarves wanted to know why he had ever been brought at all, why he could not stick to his friends and come along with them, and why the Wizard had not chosen someone with more sense. He had been more troubled than you so far. You so use than use so far, said one. If he had got to go back now into those abominable tunnels to look for him, they'd drat him, I say. Gandalf answered angrily, I brought him, and I don't bring things that are of no use. Either you help me to look for him, or I go and leave you here to get out of the mess as best as you can yourselves. If we can only find him again, you'll thank me for all is over. Whatever did you want to go and drop him up for, Dory? You would have dropped him, said Dora, if a goblin had suddenly grabbed your legs from behind in the dark, tripped your feet, and kicked you in the back. Then why didn't you pick him up again? Good heavens, can you ask? Goblins fighting and biting in the dark, everyone falling over bodies and hitting one another. You nearly chopped off my head with Glamdring, and Thorn was stabbing here and there and everywhere with Orcrist. All of a sudden, you gave one of your blinding flashes, and we saw the goblins running back yelping. You shouted, Follow me, everybody, and everyone ought to have followed. We thought everyone had. There was no time to count, and you know quite well, till we had dashed through the gate guards out of the lower door and helter skelter down the here. And here we are without the burglar, confiscate him. And here's the burglar, said Bilbo, stepping right into the middle of them and slipping off the ring. Bless me, how they jumped! Then they shouted with surprise and delight. Gandalf was as astonished as any of them, but probably more pleased than all the others. He called to Balin and told him what he thought of a lookout man who let people walk right into them like that without warning. It is a fact that Bilbo's reputation went up a very great deal with the dwarves after this. If they had still doubted that he was really a first-class burglar, in spite of Gandalf's words, they doubted no longer. Balin was the most puzzled of all, but everyone said it was a very clever bit of work. Indeed, Bilbo was so pleased with their praise that he just chuckled inside and said nothing whatever about the ring. And when they asked him how he did it, he said, Oh, just crept along, very carefully and quietly. Well, it is the first time that ever a mouse had crept alongside carefully and quietly under my very nose and not been spotted, said Balin, and I take off my hood to you, which he did. Balin, at your service, said he. Your servant, Mr. Baggins, said Bilbo. Then they wanted to know all about his adventures after they had lost him, and he sat down and told them everything except about the finding of the ring. Not just now, he thought. They were particularly interested in the riddle competition and shuddered most appreciatively at his description of Gollum. And then I couldn't think of any other question with him. Did I skip a page? Question with him, sitting beside me, ended Bilbo. So I said, What's in my pocket? And he couldn't guess in 3 goes. So I said, What about your promise? Show me the way out. But he came at me to kill me, and I ran and fell over, and he missed me in the dark. And then I followed him because I heard him talking to himself, and he thought I really knew the way out. And so he was making for it, and then he sat down in the entrance, and I could not get by. So I jumped over him and escaped and ran down to the gate. What about the guards? They asked. Weren't there any? Oh, yes, lots of them, but I dodged them. I got stuck in the door, which was only open a crack, and I lost lots of buttons, he said sadly, looking at his torn clothes. But I squeezed through all right, and here I am. The dwarves looked at him with quite a new respect. When he talked about dodging guards, jumping over Gollum, and squeezing through as if it was not very difficult or very alarming. What did I tell you? Said Gandalf, laughing. Mr. Baggins has more about him than you guess. He gave Bilbo a queer look from under his bushy eyebrows, and he said this, and the hobbit wondered if he guessed at the part of his tale that he had left out. Then he had questions of his own to ask, for if Gandalf had explained it all by now to the dwarves, Bilbo had not heard it. He wanted to know how the wizard had turned up again, and where they had all got to now. The wizard, to tell the truth, never minded explaining his cleverness more than once, so now he told Bilbo that both he and Elrond had been well aware of his presence of evil goblins in the part of the mountains. But their main gate used to come out on a different pass, one more easy to travel by, so they often caught people benighted near their gates. Evidently, people had given up going that way, and the goblins must have opened their new entrance at the top of the pass of the dwarves had taken quite recently because it had been found quite safe up to now. Yuki reading before GTA 6, truly wonderfully months. Iron Kid doesn't have to read the book, just need to watch JoJo stream. And IQ Tahe. Billy Catfield. Thank you, Big Jerry Bull. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? We're reading The Hobbit. This is the part where Bilbo makes it back to the dwarves and Gandalf. So they regrouped and they're trying to go to the dragon's lair, I guess. But I'm not gonna read the entire chapter because, like, I'm getting kind of tired. Oh, look at that! Mr. Bilbo Baggins is here. Bilbo. Alright, I must see if I can't find a more or less decent giant to block it up against, said Gandalf. Or soon there'll be no getting over the mountains at all. But yeah, how's it going, Big Jerry Boat? Let me know. Let me just drink some water real quick. As soon as Gandalf had heard Bilbo's yell, he realized what had happened. In the flash which killed the goblins that were grabbing him, he had nipped inside the crack just as it snapped to. He followed after the drivers and prisoners. Huh? Oh, so Bilbo yelled now. That was not like a past thing. Hmm. Just as it snapped to, he followed after the drivers and prisoners right to the edge of the great hall, and there he sat down and worked out the best magic he could in the shadows. A very ticklish business it was, he said, touch and go, but of course Gandalf had made a special study to bewitchments of with fire and lights. Even the Hobbit had never forgotten the magic fireworks at old Took's midsummer eve parties, as you remember. The rest we all know, except that Gandalf knew all about the back door, as the goblins called the lower gate, where Bilbo lost his buttons. As a matter of fact, it was well known to anybody who was acquainted with this part of the mountains, but it took a wizard to keep his head in the tunnels and guide them in the right direction. They made that gate ages ago, he said, partly for a way of escape if they needed one, partly as a way out into the lands beyond, where they still come in the dark and do great damage. They guard it always, and no one has ever managed to block it up. They will guard it doubly after this, he laughed. All the others laughed too. After all, they had lost a good deal, but they had killed the great goblin and a great many others besides, and they had all escaped, so they might be said to have the best of it so far. To have had the best of it so far. But the wizard called them to their senses. We must be getting it out on at once. Now we are a little rested, he said. They'll be out after us in hundreds when night comes on. And Already shadows are lengthening. They can smell our footsteps for hours and hours after we have passed. We must be miles out before dusk. There will be a bit of moon, but there'll be a bit of moon if it keeps fine, and that is lucky. Not that they mind the moon much, but it will give us a little night to steer by. A little light to steer by. Looky good, bro. Nice cats, real chill. Honestly, never read The Hobbit. Seems pretty cool. Probably still not gonna read it. Well, if you ever get into reading, you should read The Hobbit. For sure. I don't get notifications today. Aw, that's sad, but welcome back to the stream, Iris Scott. So, I don't know. I read a little bit of the last chapter, which was like 10 pages. And then I read some of this chapter. I'm getting kind of tired. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird, yeah. I don't know why that happens, bro. Sorry about that. But YouTube has like new updates coming on like very often. Like I saw like a DM section on the YouTube app. I was like, "What?" I don't like that update. I like the fact that YouTube does not have DMs. But yeah, I guess it's for businesses and stuff. I'm not sure. Also, yeah, that could be the reason why the notifications don't work. Once they yeah, I don't know, YouTube has a lot of problems. Like it goes down sometimes too. Oh, I already read this page. Okay. I'll read two more pages and then we'll call it a stream, inshallah. YouTube does not need a DM section, literally. And even if I check and there's still no notification of your streams, YouTube getting sucks. Yeah. Oh yes, he said in answer to more questions from the Hobbit. You lose track of time inside Goblin tunnels. Today's Thursday, and it was midnight Monday night or Tuesday morning that we were captured. We have gone miles and miles and come right down through the heart of the mountains and are now on the other side. Quite a shortcut, but we are not at the point to which our paths would have brought us. We are too far into the north and have some awkward country ahead, and we're still pretty high up. Let's go on. I'm dreadfully hungry, groaned Bilbo, who was suddenly aware that he had not had a meal since the night before last. Just think of that for a hobbit! His stomach felt all empty and loose, with his legs all wobbly, now that the excitement was over. Can't help it, said Gandalf, unless you like to go back and ask the goblins nicely to let you have your pony back and your luggage. No, thank you, said Bilbo. Very well then. We must just tighten our belts and trudge on, or we shall be made into supper, and that will be a much worse than having none ourselves. As they went on, Bilbo looked from side to side for something to eat, but the blackberries were still only in flower, and of course there were no nuts, not even hawthorn berries. He nibbled a bit of sorrel, and he drank from a small mountain stream that crossed the path, and he ate 3 wild strawberries that he found on its bank, but it was not much good. They still went on and on. The rough path disappeared. The bushes and the long grasses between the boulders, the patches of rabbit cropped turf, the thyme and the sage and the marjoram and the yellow rock roses all vanished, and they found themselves at the top of a wide, steep slope of fallen stones, the remains of a landslide. When they began to go down this, rubbish and small pebbles rolled away from their feet. Soon larger bits of split stone went clattering down and started other pieces below them slithering and rolling. Then lumps of rock were disturbed and bounded off, crashing down with a dust and a noise. Before long, the whole slope above them and below them seemed on the move, and they were sliding away, huddling all together in fearful confusion of slipping, rattling, cracking, and slabs and stones. It was a tree at the bottom that saved them. They slid into the edge of a climbing wood of pines that here stood right up the mountain slope from the deeper, darker forests of the valleys below. Some caught hold of the trunk and swung themselves into lower branches. Some, like the little hobbit, got behind the tree to shelter from the onslaught of the rocks. Soon the danger was over. The slide had stopped, and the last faint crashes could be heard as the largest of the disturbed stones went bounding and spinning among the bracken and the pine root far below. Wow. Well, that has got us on a bit, said Gandalf, and even goblins tracking us will have a job to come down here quietly. I dare say, grumbled Bomber, but they won't find it difficult to send stones bouncing down on our heads. The dwarves and Bilbo were feeling far from happy and were rubbing their bruised and damaged legs and feet. Nonsense! We're going to turn aside here out of the path of the slide. We must be quick. Look at the light. The sun had long gone behind the mountains. Already the shadows were deepening about them, though far away, though far away, sh- through the trees and over the black tops of those growing plains beyond. They glimpsed along now as fast as they were able down the gentle slopes of a pine forest in a slanting path leading steadily southwards. At times they were pushing through a sea of bracken with tall fronds rising right above the hobbit's head. At times they were marching along quiet over a flood of pine needles, and all the while the forest gloom got heavier and the forest silence deeper. There was no wind that evening to bring even a sea sighing into the branches of the trees. Alright, I'm gonna call it here, inshallah. I don't know what this means at the bottom of a page, like this 3 stars, but I'll take that as a nice place to stop. Bro, you're gonna name my whole family. Okay, bye. Enjoyed sleep. Thank you, and good night, everybody. Let's see if I missed anything. Okay, so like when you gonna stream next? Probably tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Well, not in the early morning. Just like whenever I Quran journal. But yeah, take care, guys. Bye.